Welcome to The Chosen, Season 1, Day number 30, Light. Yes, light. Light. Let's look at John 3:18-19. Whoever believes in him is not condemned, but whoever does not believe stands condemned already, because he has not believed in the name of God's one and only Son. This is the verdict. Light has come into the world, but men love darkness instead of light, because their deeds were evil. Everyone who does evil hates the light and will not come into the light for fear that his deeds will be exposed. Light. Nicodemus came to Jesus at night to sit and talk and learn and hide. John's gospel doesn't specify the meeting took place in the dark to keep his fellow Pharisees from seeing it, but Jesus' words implied as much. Until you are willing to step out of the dark and into the light, you're not with me. But let's back up. The passive aggression of the Pharisees was evolving into just plain aggression. The more Jesus taught and healed, the more he gained a reputation, and his audience was growing. Among the multitudes, there were some who believed Jesus was the long-awaited Savior, and rightly so. He was repeatedly saying as much, which is why the Pharisees were no longer hiding their disdain. There were murder plots in the works and outright attempts on Jesus' life, but the religious leaders tried to keep their plans under wraps because they feared the reaction of his followers. So it makes sense that Nicodemus, a renowned Pharisee with a reputation and career at stake, was scared to be seen with Jesus. Yet, the first thing he said in his secret meeting was, "Rabbi, we know you are a teacher, come from God, for no one can do these signs that you do unless God is with him." John 3:2. He was on the right track. Jesus came from God, and his works were evidence of that. Typically, Pharisees were their own biggest fans. They were proud of their education, accomplishments, piousness, and zeal, and all of the above earned them status and power. That made it difficult for Nicodemus to know how to respond to the man who was clearly from God, and teacher was the highest praise he could muster. But Nicodemus' statement didn't go far enough, and Jesus' response, while gentle, didn't pull any punches. Paraphrased, it went something like this. "Because I'm God's son, whoever believes in me will have eternal life, and those who don't believe in me stand condemned. Although my purpose in coming wasn't to condemn, it was to save. But unfortunately, Nicodemus, what you count as worthy of salvation, your resume, your position, your ambition, your good works, I count as evil because they are the very things keeping you from following me now." Wow, it's a really great way to put that, isn't that? Being unwilling to meet Jesus in the light of day was the picture of Nicodemus' unwillingness to follow, period. At least on that night. He didn't know it yet, but Nicodemus loved the darkness and all he had built in his domain. It wasn't until after Jesus was crucified that the reticent Pharisee emerged from the shadows. Joseph of Arimathea, who was a disciple of Jesus, came and took his body away. Nicodemus also, who earlier had come to Jesus by night, came bringing a mixture of myrrh and aloes, about 75 pounds in weight. They took the body of Jesus and bound it in linen cloths with the spices, as is the burial custom of the Jews. Now, in a place where he was crucified, there was a garden, and in the garden a new tomb in which no one had yet been laid. So because of the Jewish day of preparation, since the tomb was close at hand, they laid Jesus there. John 19:38-42. What caused the change? What made Nicodemus willing to publicly express his love for Jesus? Perhaps it was the unjust conviction at the hands of the Pharisees. Perhaps it was the vivaciousness of the Romans as they carried out the sentence. Perhaps it was the cheering of the crowd, the very ones Jesus taught and fed and healed. Most likely, it was a result of immense guilt, an attempt to make up for his previous cowardness. Whatever the reasons, the fear, pride, and disbelief that had kept Nicodemus in the dark no longer did. "Awake, O sleeper, and arise from the dead, and Christ will shine on you." Ephesians 5:14. I'll do the prayer focus. God, just if there's any part in my life that I am hiding from you, and my passion for Christ, or if things are hiding, Lord, in our lives, something that's shameful, God, we ask you right now to shine light on that. Because God, we just want to be your servants, and we know that if we're hiding things in the dark, that we cannot be fully used by you. And I pray, Lord, right now that you would just show us those things and we'd be bold enough to come out of the dark into your marvelous light and be living for you every day and shining that light for others to see you as well. Be with us now. In Jesus' name, amen. I'll read the moving forward. Number 1. What have you risked to follow Jesus, and what price have you paid? Well, in America, actually, we don't have to risk much at all, do we? We have the freedom to go to church any day of the week. We have the freedom to post things on Facebook. We can read our Bible anywhere. We can talk to people. So really, we don't have to risk a lot. We are very blessed, and I hope that you all realize that. I've been in other countries where we did have to kind of sneak around a little bit and risk some things. I guess the only thing really that sometimes we have to risk here is like our reputation or the fact that are people going to like me or not if I share the gospel, but I don't really care about that. I just want people to know the truth and be able to get that life-saving salvation. So I've been pretty bold to be talking to people, and I hope today that this encourages you, not to be like Nicodemus hiding, but just to be bold and be out there and just risk your reputation or whatever it may be. It's worth it if somebody gets to hear about Jesus and is saved. And number 2, in what ways is Christ like light? In what ways are people asleep? Well, Jesus is like light. I mean, he is a very bright light shining in a very dark world right now. And it's exciting, that we get to share that light with other people too, and be able to kind of shine our little Jesus light onto the gospel and into their lives, and that the way they can see the light as well. But I also believe, yes, the world is very much asleep. I mean, people right now just think, oh, I can believe whatever I want. There's many ways to get to Jesus, and there really is just one way, my friends. And so the world is very much asleep. And so I hope that you kind of join with me and all the other Christians and just really get out there and just be sharing more about Jesus and wake up these people and show them the light. And the last one. What in your life and heart are you still keeping in the dark, away from the sifting, transforming light of Jesus? I think we all have things in our life that we're trying to hide from God, but He knows everything. So I remember when I was little, I could always think I could just hide these sins from Jesus till I realized He knows everything. So I hope it just encourages you today just not to hide anything from God and just bring it out and just confess it. It feels so good to confess your sin, and then you can move on and be used by God to do some great things. So I hope today you move out of the darkness into the light. And I hope you just have a great day following Jesus and shining His light everywhere you go. Have a wonderful day, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.
You can get your own Chosen Devotional mailed right to your house, Season 1 or Season 2. They also have great Bible studies from Season 1 and Season 2. Simply go to thechosengifts.com to find all kinds of great Chosen merchandise.